Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to see you all again for another video. Today, we're going to talk about speaking to people in English, and I'm excited to tell you that this video will be with a smart and helpful teacher, Ayub. Say hi, Ayub.
Hi friends, I'm really happy to be with you in another video. We're going to talk about speaking to people in English.
So, grab a pen and notebook, get comfortable, and let's get started.
Speaking English can feel difficult at first, but remember, with practice, you will get better. The key is to start with simple words and sentences.
Don't worry about making mistakes. It's completely normal when learning something new. The most important thing is to try and keep going.
When you talk to someone in English, start with a smile. A smile shows that you are friendly and want to talk. Smiling can also help you feel more relaxed.
And it makes the other person feel comfortable too. It's always a good idea to be polite. Being polite helps you make a good impression, and people will be happy to talk to you.
When you meet someone for the first time, you can start by saying hello or hi. These are common greetings.
After that, you can ask, "How are you?" This is a simple way to show that you care about how the other person is feeling.
They might reply with, I'm fine, thank you, or I'm good. After they answer, it's nice to say, and you?
This shows that you are interested in them too.
If you want to keep the conversation going, you can ask simple questions.
For example, you can ask, "What's your name?" or "Where are you from?" People like to talk about themselves, and these questions are a good way to learn more about them.
Asking questions also helps you keep talking without feeling nervous.
Another good question is, "What do you do?" This means you are asking about the other person's job or what they study.
They might say, I'm a student, or I work in a store. You can then ask, do you like it?
You can also ask, "What do you do?" or "What do you study?" These are easy questions and help you learn more about the other person. When someone asks you a question,
Remember to answer with a short, simple sentence. For example, if they ask, where are you from? You can say, I am from Japan or I am from Brazil.
after answering, you can ask the same question back to them by saying, "And you? Where are you from?" This keeps the conversation moving.
Sometimes it's nice to talk about the weather. The weather is a topic everyone can talk about. You can say,
"It's a sunny day today," or "It's really cold outside." This can be a good way to start a light conversation.
if you say, it's a nice day or it's very cold today, the other person might agree.
And you can keep talking. If they mention the weather, try to reply with a simple sentence. For example, if they say, "It's hot today," you can say, "Yes, it is."
To talk about your interests, use easy sentences like, I like music or I like to play soccer.
If the other person likes music or soccer too, you can chat more.
You can ask questions like, what music do you like? Or do you play soccer? Talking about hobbies is a great way to keep a conversation going. And making friends and keeping a conversation going is easy if you listen well.
Listening is as important as speaking. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask them to say it again. You can say, "Can you say that again, please?" or "Sorry, I didn't understand."
People won't mind if you ask them to repeat. They know you are learning and will be happy to help.
If you don't know how to say something, try to use simple words. You don't need to use difficult words.
For example, if you don't know the word for delicious, you can say, the food is very good. People will understand what you mean.
Keeping it simple is fine when you're learning.
Don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes when you talk, there might be a short pause. This is normal and gives you time to think.
You don't need to rush when you're speaking.
Take your time and say what you want. The other person will wait and understand that you're learning. If you don't know how to end a conversation, you can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I have to go now."
These are polite ways to finish talking.
You can also say, "See you later," or "Goodbye" before you leave. This will make a good impression if you are talking to someone new. Practice speaking English as much as you can. The more you practice, the easier it will be.
Try to find people who also want to learn English so you can practice together.
You can also practice by listening to English videos or songs. It will help you hear how words are said, and you can try to say them too. When talking to people, don't worry if you don't know all the words.
You don't need a lot of words to start speaking English.
Even if you know only a few words, you can still have a conversation. Start with what you know, and you will learn more words as you practice. Remember, the more you speak, the more confident you will feel.
At first, you might feel shy or nervous, and that's okay. Everyone feels this way when learning a new language. Just keep trying, and little by little, you will get better.
Don't give up. Speaking English is about communication, not being perfect. It's about talking to others and sharing your ideas. People will understand that you are learning, and they will appreciate your effort.
Be patient with yourself and keep practicing. Over time, you will become better at speaking English, and it will feel more natural.
Now, let's talk about how to keep a conversation going in English. When you talk to someone, it's important to ask questions.
Questions help the conversation keep going and show that you are interested in the other person.
Asking questions is easy when you use simple words. For example,
You can ask, "Do you like coffee?" or "Do you have a pet?" These are easy questions anyone can answer. The other person might say, "Yes, I like coffee."
or "No, I don't have a pet." You can then say, "I like coffee too," or "I have a dog." This helps you share something about yourself. This way, the other person can learn more about you too. Another good question to ask is about free time.
You can ask, "What do you do in your free time?" This means you are asking what the person likes to do when they are not working or studying.
The other person might say, "I like to read books," or "I like to watch movies."
Then you can ask more questions like, "What kind of books do you read?" or "What is your favorite movie?"
These questions help keep the conversation going. You don't need to ask big or difficult questions. Simple questions like these are great. They make the conversation fun.
Talking about family is also a good way to start a conversation.
Many people like to talk about their family. You can ask, "Do you have brothers or sisters?" The person might say, "Yes, I have one brother," or "No, I don't have any brothers or sisters."
After they answer, you can tell them about your family. For example,
You can say, "I have two sisters," or "I have a big family." Talking about family helps people feel connected.
if you don't know what to say, that's okay. Sometimes it's hard to think of new questions. If you feel stuck, take a deep breath.
You can repeat something the other person said. For example, if they say, "I like to travel," you could say, "Oh, you like to travel?" This shows you are listening and helps the other person keep talking.
They might tell you more about the places they have visited or where they want to go.
Repeating what the other person says is a good way to keep the conversation going.
To keep the conversation going, especially when you don't know what to say next, let's talk about speaking clearly.
When you talk to someone, it's important to speak clearly so they can understand you. You don't need to speak fast. Speaking slowly is actually a good idea when you're learning English.
This gives you time to think about what you want to say and helps the other person understand you better. Don't worry if you feel like you are speaking too slowly.
It's better to speak slowly and clearly than to speak too fast.
If you speak quickly, you might make mistakes. Pronunciation is also important when speaking English.
Pronunciation means how you say the words. Sometimes English words can be hard to pronounce. If you don't know how to say a word, you can ask the other person. You can say, "How do you say this word?"
Or, can you help me with my pronunciation? People are usually happy to help and will tell you how to say the word correctly. With practice, your pronunciation will get better.
When you are talking to someone, keep practicing.
It's good to make eye contact. Eye contact means looking at the person's face, especially their eyes, when you are talking.
This shows that you are listening and helps make the conversation feel more personal. In some cultures, people don't make much eye contact.
But in English-speaking countries, eye contact is usually seen as polite.
If you feel shy, you don't have to look at the person all the time. You can look away for a few seconds and then look back.
The important thing is to show that you are paying attention.
Listening and showing that you care about what the other person is saying is important.
One way to show you are listening is to nod your head when the other person is speaking.
Nodding shows that you understand. This is an easy way to communicate without using words. You can also say yes or I see while they are talking.
These small words show you are listening and following the conversation.
Sometimes, when you are talking to someone,
You might not understand everything they say.
this is okay and normal.
It's normal to have trouble understanding when you are learning a new language.
If you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can say, "I'm sorry, can you repeat that?" Or, "Can you speak more slowly, please?"
Most people will be happy to help by speaking more slowly or saying the sentence again.
Remember, you don't have to understand every single word. Even native English speakers don't always understand every word in a conversation.
What's more important is understanding the main idea of what the person is saying.
If you miss a word or two, that's okay. Try to focus on the main idea.
With practice, you will understand more and more.
When you are talking, it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language.
Mistakes are a natural part of learning. Don't feel embarrassed if you say something wrong.
The other person will understand that you are learning and won't mind.
They might even help you by correcting your mistake.
For example, if you say, "I go to the store," the other person might say, "Oh, you mean I went to the store?"
This helps because it shows you the correct way to say it.
Don't feel bad about making mistakes.
Each mistake is a chance to learn something new.
Another good way to improve your English is to practice with different people.
Each person speaks a little differently, so talking to many people can help you get used to different speaking styles.
Some people speak fast, and some speak slowly. Some use short words, while others use longer, more difficult words.
By practicing with many people, you can learn to understand different types of English.
You can also improve your speaking by listening to how different people talk. Listening is a big part of learning to speak English.
The more you listen, the better you will get at speaking.
When you listen, pay attention to the words they use and how they make sentences. Try to repeat some of the things they say in your own conversations.
This will help you remember new words and phrases. You can also listen to English on TV, in movies, or in songs.
Even if you don't understand everything, listening helps you get used to the sound of the language.
If you watch a TV show or movie in English, you can turn on the subtitles.
Subtitles are the words at the bottom of the screen that show what the characters are saying.
This can help you follow the conversation and learn new words.
After watching with subtitles, try watching it again without them. This will help you practice understanding spoken English without reading the words. You can also practice English by talking to yourself. This might sound strange, but it's a great way to practice. You can practice simple conversations in your head or out loud.
For example, imagine you are talking to a friend and practice what you would say. You can also describe things around you in English.
For example, if you are at home, you can say, "This is my kitchen," or "I am sitting on a chair."
Practicing this way helps you feel more comfortable speaking English.
And you could do it anytime, even when you're alone.
It's also important to ask for help when learning English.
If you don't know a word, you can say, "What does this word mean?" or "How do you say this in English?" Most people will be happy to help you.
It's a good idea to carry a small notebook with you. If someone teaches you a new word, you can write it down.
Writing things down helps you remember better, and you can look at your notes anytime you need to. In English, there are many ways to say the same thing.
For example, if you want to ask someone if they're okay, you can say, "Are you okay?" Or, "How are you doing?" Or, "Is everything all right?"
These are all polite ways to check on someone. Don't worry if you don't know all the different ways to say something.
Start with the phrases you know and learn new ones slowly.
As you practice, you will get better at using different phrases. When you speak, try to use simple words. Simple words are easier for you to remember and easier for the other person to understand.
You don't need to use big or difficult words to have a good conversation.
For example, instead of saying, "I am famished," you can say, "I am very hungry."
Both mean the same thing, but the second one is easier to understand.
Using simple words helps you focus on the conversation and not worry too much about your vocabulary.
If you don't know how to say something, try using other words to explain it.
This is called paraphrasing. For example, if you don't know the word for library, you can say, "the place where you go to read books."
The other person will understand what you mean.
And it helps you keep talking without stopping the conversation.
Paraphrasing is a great skill to have when learning a new language because it helps you communicate even when you don't know all the words.
Speaking English is like any other skill. It gets better with practice.
The more you practice, the more confident you will feel. You can practice by talking to friends, classmates, or even strangers.
If you are shy,
Start by practicing with people you know well. As you get more comfortable, try talking to new people.
It's okay to feel nervous at first. Everyone feels a little nervous when learning something new.
Just remember that the more you practice, the easier it will get.
When you practice, try to speak out loud. Speaking out loud.
Helps you hear how the words sound.
Speaking out loud also helps you get used to forming the words with your mouth.
This is important because learning a new language is not just about knowing the words.
But also being able to say them clearly. Speaking out loud, even.
When you are alone, helps you get better at pronouncing words correctly.
If you have a friend who is also learning English, you can practice together.
You can take turns asking each other questions and answering them.
This is a fun way to practice and helps you feel more confident because your friend is learning too. You can help each other.
By correcting mistakes and learning new words together. Practicing with a friend makes learning more enjoyable and helps you both improve.
Sometimes you might feel like you are not making progress. Don't worry, learning a new language takes time.
And it's normal to have ups and downs. Some days, you will feel like you are learning a lot.
And other days you might feel stuck. This is all part of the process.
The important thing is to keep practicing.
Don't give up and remember that each day you practice, you're getting better.
Even if it doesn't feel like it. Let's talk more about speaking English with some tips and examples.
I know learning English can be hard, but don't worry. The more you practice, the better you will get.
The key is to not give up, even when it feels difficult.
One important thing to remember is to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time. You won't learn everything in one day or even in 1 month.
But if you practice every day, little by little, you will improve. It's like learning any new skill. For example, if you want to play a musical instrument, you need to practice every day.
At first, you might only know how to play 1 or 2 notes, but with time, you will learn to play songs. It's the same with learning English.
Start with what you know and keep adding new words and sentences. Over time, you will see how much you have learned.
A good way to practice English is to talk to yourself,
I know this might sound a little strange.
but it can really help. You can talk about simple things. For example,
When you are cooking, you can say, I am cutting the vegetables or I am boiling water.
when you are getting ready in the morning, you can say, I am brushing my teeth or I am getting dressed.
Talking to yourself in English helps you practice using the language in everyday situations.
It also helps you start thinking in English. The more you think in English, the easier it will be to speak.
Another great way to practice is by watching TV shows or movies in English.
When you watch something in English, you hear how people talk in real life. You can listen to how they ask questions, how they answer.
And how they use words in different situations. If you don't understand everything, that's okay.
You don't need to understand every single word to learn. Focus on the main idea. You can also turn on subtitles to help you understand. After watching, try to repeat some of the sentences.
This will help you remember new words and phrases.
Music is another fun way to learn English.
You can listen to English songs and try to sing along.
Music helps you learn the rhythm of the language and improves your pronunciation. Start with simple songs that have easy words.
As you get better, you can try listening to more difficult songs.
Singing along helps you practice speaking and makes learning more fun.
It's also helpful to read in English. You don't have to read long books or difficult texts. You can start with simple things like short stories or children's books.
These books use simple language and short sentences, so they are easier to understand. When you read, try to say the words out loud to practice your pronunciation.
If you see a word you don't know, write it down and look it up later. Then, try to use the new word in your own sentences.
Reading is a great way to learn new words and see how they are used in context. If you like writing, you can keep a diary in English every day.
Write a few sentences about what you did.
Or you can write about how you feel. For example, you can write, Today I went to the park, or I feel happy because it is sunny.
Writing helps you practice using English and organize your thoughts.
You don't have to write a lot. Even writing a few sentences every day will help you improve. Over time,
You will see your writing get better. When you talk to someone in English, try to speak slowly and clearly. Don't worry about speaking fast. It's better to take your time and say the words correctly. Speaking slowly also gives you more time to think about what you want to say.
it's normal to pause and think during a conversation. You don't need to rush. The other person will understand that you are learning and will be patient with you.
Sometimes, when you are speaking, you might forget a word. This happens to everyone, even people who speak English as their first language. If you forget a word, don't panic.
You can describe what you mean in a different way. For example, if you forget the word restaurant, you can say, the place where people go to eat.
The other person will understand what you mean, and this will help keep the conversation going.
Describing things in different ways is a helpful skill when learning a new language.
Another important tip is to listen carefully when other people are speaking. Listening is just as important as speaking. When you listen carefully, you learn new words and phrases, and you also see how sentences are made.
If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask. You can say, "Can you repeat that, please?" Or, "I didn't understand. Can you say it again?" People will not mind repeating things for you. They will know you are learning and will be happy to help.
It's a good idea to practice with different people. Each person speaks a little differently, and this will help you get used to hearing different accents and speaking styles.
Some people speak very fast, while others speak more slowly. Some people use slang or casual words, while others use more formal language. By practicing with different people, you will learn how to understand different types of English.
This will also help you feel more confident when speaking. When you are learning English, it's important to celebrate your progress. Every time you learn a new word or use a new sentence, you are improving.
It's easy to feel like you are not learning fast enough, but remember that every little step is progress. Even if you learn just one new word a day, by the end of the year, you will know over 300 new words. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Be proud of what you have learned and keep going.
It's also helpful to set small goals for yourself. For example, you can set a goal to learn 5 new words this week or to have one short conversation in English every day.
Setting small goals makes learning easier and gives you something to work towards. When you reach your goal, you will feel proud and motivated to keep learning. Another tip is to use English in your daily life as much as possible. The more you use English, the more comfortable you will become with it.
You can label things in your house with their English names.
For example, put a label on your refrigerator that says refrigerator or on your door that says door. This helps you learn new words and keeps English in your mind all day.
You can also try thinking in English. This is a great way to practice when you are alone. For example, when you are walking or sitting quietly, think about what you are doing in English. You can say in your mind, "I am walking to the store," or "I am drinking coffee."
Thinking in English helps you get used to the language and makes speaking easier when you talk to someone else.
If you have friends who are also learning English, you can practice together. You can have simple conversations and help each other when you make mistakes.
Learning with a friend is fun because you can encourage each other and share new words and phrases. You can also correct each other's mistakes in a friendly way, which helps you both improve.
Remember, it's okay to make mistakes when you are learning. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. Each time you make a mistake, you learn something new.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes when speaking. The important thing is to keep trying. People will understand that you are learning and will be patient with you.
It's also important to practice speaking regularly. If you only practice once in a while, it will take longer to improve. But if you practice a little bit every day,
You will see progress faster. You don't need to practice for hours. Even practicing for 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a big difference. The key is to be consistent. The more you practice, the more confident you will become.
if you feel nervous about speaking to new people, you can start by practicing in front of a mirror. This helps you get used to seeing yourself speak and makes you feel more comfortable when talking to others.
You can practice simple conversations like introducing yourself.
Or you can practice asking questions. Practicing in front of a mirror helps you become more confident.
And gives you a chance to work on your pronunciation and body language.
Another thing to remember is that everyone learns at their own pace. Some people learn quickly, while others take more time. This is completely normal. Don't compare yourself to others.
Focus on your own progress and keep working towards your goals. Learning a new language is a personal journey, and everyone's journey is different.
If you ever feel frustrated or stuck, take a break. It's okay to rest when you're tired. Sometimes stepping away for a short time can help you come back with a fresh mind. After a break,
You might find things easier to understand. The important thing is to keep going, even if it's just a little at a time.
you can also join online groups or forums where people practice English.
These groups give you a chance to talk to people from all over the world who are also learning English. You can ask questions and share tips.
And practice having conversations. It's a great way to meet new people and learn from each other. Another good idea is to record yourself speaking English. You can record a short message or conversation and listen to it later. This helps you hear how you sound when you speak.
You can notice things like pronunciation or if you are speaking too fast or too slowly. Listening to yourself helps you find areas where you can improve. It's also a good way to see how much progress you've made over time.
When you're learning English, it's okay to feel nervous or shy sometimes. This is a normal feeling when you are trying something new. But the more you practice, the more comfortable you will become.
Speaking a new language takes courage, and every time you practice, you build that courage. So don't be afraid to speak, even if you feel shy. Each time you speak, you are getting better.
If you ever feel discouraged, remember why you started learning English. Maybe you want to travel.
Or maybe you want to talk to more people from different countries.
Whatever your reason is, keep it in mind and let it motivate you. Learning English opens up many opportunities.
And it is worth the effort. Let's keep talking about learning and practicing English.
Learning a new language is a journey. It can feel hard at times, but with practice, you will get better. Remember,
It's important to practice every day, even if only for a few minutes. Every small step you take will help you become better at speaking English.
one of the most important things to do when learning English is to listen. Listening helps you understand how people speak in real conversations. You can listen to conversations, TV shows, music,
Or podcasts. Even if you don't understand everything, don't worry. Just try to focus on the main ideas. Over time, you will start to understand more and more.
if you hear a word you don't know, write it down. Later, you can look up the meaning of the word and learn how to use it.
Writing down new words helps you remember them better. You can also try using the new word in a sentence.
For example, if you learn the word delicious, you can say, "The food is delicious."
Practicing new words like this helps you remember them and use them in your conversations.
Another way to practice English is to ask questions. When you are talking to someone, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't understand something, you can say, "Can you explain that, please?"
Or, what does that mean? People will be happy to help you. Asking questions is a good way to learn and improve your understanding.
When you are speaking, it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. Making mistakes is part of learning. Each time you make a mistake, you learn something new.
Don't worry if you say something wrong. The important thing is to keep talking and practicing. People will understand that you are learning and will be patient with you.
Sometimes it's helpful to record yourself speaking. You can record yourself reading a sentence.
Or talking about your day and then listen to the recording.
This helps you hear how you sound when you speak English. You can notice if you are pronouncing words correctly or if you need to slow down.
Listening to yourself can help you find areas to improve. It also helps you feel more comfortable with speaking.
A good tip for learning English is to practice speaking out loud, even if you are alone. For example, when you are cooking, you can say, I'm cutting vegetables, or when you are walking.
You can say, I am going to the store. Speaking out loud helps you get used to forming words with your mouth. It also helps you practice pronunciation and speaking clearly.
You can also talk about your daily activities in English. For example, you can say, I woke up at 7 a.m., or I am having breakfast.
This helps you practice using English in real-life situations. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will feel using English in your everyday life.
If you feel shy or nervous about speaking to other people,
It can help to practice in front of a mirror. Stand in front of the mirror and talk.
stand in front of the mirror and pretend you are talking to someone. You can practice introducing yourself or asking simple questions. This helps you become more confident.
And get used to seeing yourself speak. Practicing in front of a mirror is a great way to build confidence before talking to others.
Another way to practice is to read simple books in English. You don't need to start with difficult books. Choose short stories or books for beginners.
Reading helps you learn new words and see how sentences are made. When you read, try to say the words out loud. This helps you practice pronunciation and speaking clearly. If you find a word you don't know, write it down and look it up later.
Writing in English is also a good way to practice. You don't need to write long essays. Start by writing short sentences about your day. For example, you can write, Today I went to the park.
Or, I am happy because it is sunny. Writing helps you organize your thoughts and practice using English. It also helps you remember new words and how to use them in sentences.
If you have friends who are learning English, you can practice together. Take turns asking each other questions and answering them. For example, you can ask, What did you do today? And your friend can answer, I went to the store. Practicing with a friend makes learning more fun.
You can help each other by correcting mistakes and sharing new words. It's also a good way to build your confidence because your friend is learning too.
Another important thing to remember when learning English is to be patient with yourself. Learning a new language takes time. You won't learn everything in one day. Some days, you might feel like you are making a lot of progress.
And other days, you might feel stuck. This is normal. The important thing is to keep practicing, even when it feels difficult. Don't give up. Every day you practice, you are getting better, even if it doesn't feel like it.
It's also helpful to set small goals for yourself. For example,
You can set a goal to learn 5 new words this week.
you can also set a goal to have one short conversation in English every day. Setting small goals helps you stay focused and gives you something to work towards.
When you reach your goal, you will feel proud of yourself, and this will motivate you to keep going.
A fun way to practice English is by watching TV shows or movies in English. When you watch something in English, you hear how people speak in real-life situations.
You can listen to how they ask questions, how they answer, and how they use words.
If you don't understand everything, that's okay. You don't need to understand every word. Just focus on the main ideas. You can also turn on subtitles to help you understand.
After watching, try to repeat some of the sentences you heard. This will help you remember new words and phrases.
Another fun way to learn English is by listening to music. You can listen to songs in English and try to sing along.
Music helps you learn the rhythm of the language and improves your pronunciation.
You can start with simple songs that have easy words. As you get better, try listening to more difficult songs.
Singing along to music is a fun way to practice speaking and makes learning more enjoyable.
You can also practice English by talking to yourself. For example, when you are doing something simple like cooking or cleaning, say what you are doing in English. You can say, I am washing the dishes or I am cleaning the table.
Talking to yourself helps you practice using English in everyday situations. It also helps you get used to thinking in English. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
If you like writing, you can keep a diary in English. Every day, write a few sentences about what you did or how you feel. For example, you can write, Today I went to the park, or I feel happy because it is sunny.
Writing in a diary helps you practice using English and remember new words and phrases. It's also a good way to track your progress and see how much you have improved over time.
It's important to remember that learning a language is a journey. Sometimes it will feel easy, and other times it will feel hard. That's okay. The most important thing is to keep going.
Even if you only practice for a few minutes each day, you're making progress. The more you practice, the better you will get.
One of the best ways to learn English is by using it in your daily life. For example, when you go to a store, try speaking to the cashier in English. You can ask, How much is this? Or where's the milk?
These small conversations help you practice speaking and give you a chance to use what you have learned in real-life situations.
Another way to use English in your daily life is to label things in your house with their English names. For example, put a label on your refrigerator that says refrigerator or on your door that says door.
This helps you learn new words and keeps English in your mind all day.
You can also try thinking in English. This is a great way to practice when you are alone. For example,
When you are walking or sitting quietly,
try to think about what you are doing in English. You can say in your mind, I am walking to the store or I am drinking coffee.
thinking in English helps you get used to the language and makes speaking easier when you talk to someone else.
If you feel nervous about speaking to new people, start by practicing with people you know well. You can practice with your friends, family, or classmates.
The more you practice with people you know, the more confident you will feel.
When speaking to new people, it's okay to feel nervous.
At first, everyone feels nervous when they are learning something new. But the more you practice, the easier it will become.
When you talk to someone in English, it's okay to pause and think about what you want to say.
You don't need to speak quickly. Speaking slowly gives you time to think and helps you say the words clearly.
It's also okay to ask the other person to repeat something if you didn't understand. You can say, Can you say that again, please?
Or you can say, I didn't understand. Can you explain? People will be happy to help you.
It's also important to listen carefully when others are speaking. Listening helps you learn new words.
And phrases and understand how sentences are put together. The more you listen, the better you will understand.
If you don't understand something, don't be afraid to ask. You can say,
What does that mean? Or can you explain that, please? Asking questions helps you learn and improves your understanding.
Another helpful tip is to practice with different people. Each person speaks a little differently, and this will help you get used to hearing different accents and speaking styles.
Some people speak fast, while others speak more slowly. Some people use more slang or casual words,
While others use more formal language. Practicing with different people helps you learn how to understand different types of English and makes you more confident when speaking. If you feel stuck or frustrated, it's okay to take a break.
Learning a language takes time.
It's important to be patient with yourself. Sometimes taking a short break can help you come back with a fresh mind.
After a break, you might find that things are easier to understand. The most important thing is to keep going and not give up.
You can also join online groups or forums where people practice English. These groups let you talk to people from all over the world who are also learning English. You can ask questions, share tips.
And practice having conversations. It's a great way to meet new people and learn from each other.
In conclusion, learning English takes time, patience, and practice. The more you practice, the better you will get. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and remember to ask questions when you need help.
Practice every day, even if it's only for a few minutes. Little by little.
You will improve and feel more confident speaking English.
Keep going and don't give up. You're doing a great job.
Thank you for listening. I hope you feel more confident about speaking English now. Just remember to smile.
Be polite and keep practicing. You're doing great. Have a nice day.